Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. It Takes Courage with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. And today I have a very special guest, a good friend of mine, Ruben Perez, who is a tech entrepreneur. And today we're going to be giving you some tips and some hacks on how you can use technology to empower your business, to take it to the next level, or even to simplify things. So, Ruben, welcome, welcome, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Iz. Thank you for having me here.
It is my pleasure. So, Ruben, you've been in the tech world for some time now, right? I think like since, um, is it like what, 15 years, 20 years, or something like that, that you've been in the tech world? I know like you were in it wasn't something that you dive straight in. I think you were in transition into from somewhere before. I forgot what that was. So, Ruben, why don't you just tell us your
Sure,
story and how you got started in this world.
sure. It sounds great, Iz. Thank you. So, I have here under my name the title tech entrepreneur. Uh, so the entrepreneur part comes from from my father. Well, my family is from South America originally, and they saw the U.S. as this land of opportunity to be able to come to this country and be able to create a new life. I wasn't born yet, so a new life for our family. So my father came out here, and he was always the one that was always looking to create a business. And so he was a jeweler, but he ended up making his own jewelry business. And then the jewelry business wasn't working out, so he ended up starting his own flooring contractor business. So that idea of like uh, going on taking a leap and creating something for his family that wasn't there before, that's I got a lot from my dad. So his travel, that whole process. But on the tech side, for me, I went to UCLA. I graduated from UCLA around before the dot-com boom, like before 2000. And that was the time when the internet was just being commercialized, just coming into fruition. And I started a company right out of college. Now in college, I studied classical civilizations. I have a degree in ancient history, ancient Greek and Roman history. And I always joke that the greatest thing I ever got out of it was the ability to translate the Latin at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. But in truth, it really gave me an appreciation of our history, at least in the West, as far as like our culture and just a lot of context for who we are today as a society, which I think is great. But the technology side, the internet was coming into fruition, and I started my tech company and trying to figure out what to do. And by the age of 28, I ended up selling it. And at that point, I had on paper what I thought was enough money to never have to work again. But on on the other side of the dot-com boom was a dot-com crash. So I got to ride the other side of it. And I really, I had a lot of success and I had a lot of challenges. And during the process, I learned a lot about the technology itself and what it takes to run a technology business. And over the years, I've created multiple technology businesses, from an online 3D rendering services company to an agency that serves clients of all sizes, from some Fortune 500 companies to a lot of small businesses that are just trying to get their idea off the ground. So from so many years of having not only developed my own software and apps, but working with these systems, every business nowadays needs to use a lot of technology systems in order to be able to not just survive, but to thrive and to get their message out. And so I've become an expert over the years on how to support people so that technology becomes something that empowers them and helps them get their message out, not just something they have to deal with and fight with all the time. So that's a little
Yeah,
about.
I mean, like that's so, by the way, the viewers that are listening here, Ruben actually helped me out to create my own channel on Roku TV because, we were having breakfast, me, Ruben, and a couple of our other friends, Bud and Monica, at LA. And then, I shared with him and, Bud and Monica as well, something that happened regarding my previous show with another network that we were not in alignment on. And I've always had this vision of like, I want my brand to be upfront and center, like, not on anyone else. That's something that's independent of regardless of what happened, that I can stand on my 2 feet. But I didn't know how to do it. And I was like, Ruben, can you create like a Roku channel? Can we work on that? Can we create something on Roku? And Ruben was like, yeah, we can. And so we did, we built our own Roku channel. Obviously, it takes courage. So if you go to Roku and you search for "it takes courage," it will pop up straight away. And then from there, we helped, another entrepreneur, and now we're in the process of helping other people. So it just makes it fun and exciting on how technology can help you to be an access or a bridge to your dream or whatever it is that you wanted to have. And Ruben, so your dad here, kind of like planted the seeds, right? From a jewelry business to the flooring contractor, well, which is like has nothing to do with jewelry, by the way. It seems like a natural transition that it is. But would you say that your dad, having seen him go through that process of creating something, of like taking care of the family or figuring something out, would you say that kind of like planted the seeds for your own entrepreneurship journey?
Yes. So what I really appreciate about my dad, I was inspired by watching him do this. So neither of my parents went to high school. They grew up born in the 1930s, and from the small South American country. My mom grew up on a farm, and the girls only went to sixth grade, basically elementary school, and then they grew up and got married, and that was it. And for my dad, he got to about sixth grade, finished elementary school, and then was expected to go to work and to help, feed support the family. So neither of them passed that level of education, but they're both very intelligent people, right? And then the level of schooling that they had was never like their limit. And I was just so inspired by like them just willing to just put themselves out there and to grow in a new country with a new language. And I'm sure you're familiar with some of you know the difficulties of going to a new country where it's a different culture, and just it feels like I mean, I don't know. I've only traveled to other places like that, but it's
Yeah, I mean,
probably like
it is different when you
not
pack
only trying to like
Asian.
create
Yeah,
something, but you have to
also,
like almost figure out how to fit in or thrive in something that's not where you grew up in. So
oh my God, 100%. And it's so different when you pack for a vacation or you pack permanently. Like when I came to America, before this I was in England, before that I was in India. Like when I packed, I left everything behind, my family, my culture, the food that I grew up with, my friends, everything that I know into just this 4 or 5 suitcases. And then I remember like coming to America, I landed here and I went to the immigration, and the immigration officer was like, okay, we have a bunch of aliens here. You guys need to sit over there. So we were not even human beings or a family. We were aliens. That's exactly what he called us. And then, okay, we went through a process. Everything was checked in, documentation. And when we would go out, we came to America because of a special invitation from my husband's company. He was invited to work at his dream job. But when we came here, but we didn't realize like nobody wanted to rent us their houses because we didn't have any credit history. We do have it outside of the US, but we don't have it here. We don't have any social security. We don't have a bank account. I mean, we just got here and like, it was so hard finding a home. So, I can totally relate what your parents are going through. It's the land of the dreams, but it's also hard. So, Ruben, I wanted to kind of like acknowledge your parents for having that courage and bravery, and also for you in taking that kind of like essence and go and create something with its tenacity and persistent. And you've also worked with multiple companies. You
Yes.
work with me. You work with other small businesses, big businesses, medium-sized businesses. So technology is always changing. So what are some of the hacks that entrepreneurs can do, or business owners can do, to make sure that technology doesn't overwhelm them?
Yes. And yeah, let me just say one thing is so that whole idea of packing your 5 bags and everything. I mean, as far as the entrepreneurial side of the equation, I mean, that's sort of what it is. It's like, okay, let's say you've been working a specific job for somebody else for a long time and you want to take this leap into entrepreneurship, but there's a lot of fear there. And in many ways, you're like packing your bags, you're packing your degree if you have one, you're packing your books of information on how to start a business, and you're creating all this thing, and then you're going to take this trip, and there's a lot of fear there. So it takes courage, as they say, uh,
Yes, it does.
to do
And
that.
coming to a country that drives on the wrong side of the road, right?
That's
Because,
right.
like in
Do it
my
all
mind, I
backwards.
always drive on the right side of the road. And now I have to relearn to drive on the wrong side. Oh, the left side. I apologize. The left side of the road. And I'm like, this is crazy because it's conditioning, right? For 20 years
Yeah.
of driving, it's conditioning and then changing that. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
sorry, other technology, other technology. So yeah, so
yeah, the
the first thing with
technology.
technology is that everybody has their own relationship to it. Uh, what technology is, and it can either be this wonderful and a tool that enables you to create, or it can be a nightmare. And most people are somewhere in that spectrum of what it is to you. There's just a
Yes, the
reality.
love-hate relationship.
It's
Yeah.
it is, and to the extent that some people, and my wife is one of these, when she gets frustrated with technology, like things just stop working for her. Like she's like, this thing, it won't. I click the button and it's not here, and she calls me and she's upset. Like, I can't believe this thing. And I walk over, and all of a sudden the thing starts to work, right? And like, I don't know how that works energetically, but I believe that technology actually, does have some interaction with, we're electromagnetic beings. Um, so who knows how that works, but um, it's just a tool. It's just a tool, and if you are open to it, and um, it will serve your business. You don't have to learn it all. You don't have to go, okay, well, I just like a lot of people I talk to, they're like, okay, I just like this lady's just in her 70s now. And she's like, well, I really need to go take a course on doing JavaScript. I'm like, no, you don't. You just have to be open to what the technology can do for you. And there's like so many people that can support you, but you just have to be willing to receive it. Anyway, so the first thing is like, if you can imagine it, is like with technology, if you can imagine it, you can build it. And people ask me, hey, did you think we're doing a specific website project? Do you think we can do this with this website? Look, if you can imagine it, it can be done. I can do it. It's a time of budget and time perhaps to get it done. And it may not be worth the expense to get that done because there might be priorities in other areas of the software or the business. So there's that's one of the magic of technology, is that it allows you to fulfill things in your imagination in a way that might be more difficult without it. So
Yeah, I think you touched on a point there, Ruben, in the sense that, how do you perceive technology? It can either be your best friend or you can either be your enemy. And like depending on how you perceived it, it's going to have an impact. Like, like your best friend. Absolutely, you want to hang out with your best friend all the time. You have fun, you go to things. Some things are not great, but things are great. But when it's like your enemy, like, oh my God, it's that person again. How dare this person kind of do this and do that? And it's going to have an impact. And guess how? I think it's kind of similar about money, Ruben. Like your relationship with money is a relationship, money and technology. I mean, you and technology, you and money. So how do you perceive that relationship? I think it's the first definition. Like Ruben said, it can empower you, but it can also be a destruction if you set it up in a way that is not meant to set up. And one of the things that Ruben taught me was that sometimes it is better to have, I forgot what you call it, but to have a few small softwares to lead to a result versus to have an all-in-one solution. So Ruben, can you talk us
Sure.
through on like the all-in-one versus the multiple little things in setting things up, but both is going to get you the same results.
Sure thing. So there's um, when you need to solve a technology problem in your business, and let's see, and and you need to the first thing that you do is you're going to go web search what the different tools out there to do what you do. So let's say you're looking to do a I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain this. So there's two approaches. Let's say you're an online, you're starting your online uh, coaching or product business,
Yeah,
and in order to do that, you need to have an e-commerce store, and then you need to have a marketing tool to send the emails,
yeah.
and then
Just use my example, Ruben, like what you helped me out, from the Stripe to the active campaign.
right.
Just
So
use
you
that
take payments.
example.
Right? So there's two general approaches to software solutions, and they are basically there's the all-in-one solutions where these companies they'll try to give you all the features that you need in one package. So at the larger end, you have companies like Salesforce that are sort of like large scale, very complex, but they try to they try to include all this stuff, and you go to one place to get it. Um, and then on the smaller ends, there's other tools like Kajabi or gosh, there's so many different ones. But just in general, there's two approaches: either all-in-one solution, or you have to put together all your different solutions. Now, most people want to go. You have to put together the different pieces yourself and make them all work together, and therefore you can get you can get the solution that way. And most people stay away instinctively away from this thing that you have to like connect stuff because oh my god, there's so many these different pieces and things that go wrong, and they'll jump to the all-in-one solution, and that's why those solutions exist, because it seems like, oh, just one stop, come here, pay your one fee, and you have everything. So that's great. If the all-in-one solution does exactly what you need today, and you're never going to go anywhere else with it. Because what happens with these all-in-one solutions is that they'll give you, you can make things work in there, but as soon as as your business grows in a specific direction, and all of a sudden you need to, send email in a different way, or maybe the email deliverability in this provider, it's included and it's all tied to my stuff here. But if all of a sudden people aren't getting my emails, and I need to send my emails through a different provider because I'm sending 5 times as many emails, and I can't do it because I'm not in this one world. So the downside of the all-in-one systems is that it can be really great for starting up and remove a lot of the headaches, but you might be putting yourself in a box that is difficult to get out of. On the other side, the solutions where you piece together, and I called it a Rube Goldberg machine, those the ball hits one stick and the stick spins and then it knocks over the cup, and the cup, like all these things, these simple things, but connected in a complicated way, perhaps, and they all react to each other. The Rube Goldberg machine. So by doing that type of setup and just picking the best, they call it point solutions for each specific system, you can then connect it with a tool like Zapier, which we did in your case, or there's other tools like that. So when for example, for you, as you had Stripe and you had Active Campaign that you use for your email marketing. And when certain things are purchased, you need to be able to have to react to that and send an email and activate certain things. So there's a little bit of knowledge required in order uh, to make the connection between these apps. But there's all sorts of consultants either on Upwork or people that know this stuff really well. So you don't have to learn it. You can just imagine it. Somebody can build it for you at reasonable cost. And when you set that up, you have very good you have not only flexibility to swap out any of the individual tools, whichever one is the limitation for your business. Your email system isn't working. Okay, I'm going to switch to this one that's got more features, and we're going to link it up. Okay, now I need to add something else that this all-in-one system couldn't do it. All of a sudden, it's like, well, how do I connect it? Well, this isn't really, it's all in one, but that one more thing that I needed is very difficult to connect. But over here, this is just like everything is the ability to connect it very easily. So it's a little bit more complicated to set up in the beginning, but ultimately, if you can have the right relationship with your technology to make sure that that allows you to set that up properly, it's going to be better for you in the long term.
Yeah, and I think also kind of giving you some form of flexibility, right? Because the all-in-one, sure, it does removes quite a lot of the headaches, but it's kind of pretty confined in the specific way on how you can do things because it's like limited to how this is how you send an email, this is how you accept a payment. You can only accept payment from PayPal and not Stripe, for example. Um, but like for example, Ruben helped me from let's say, so now I'm working on my book project, Hello Success project for my clients, and that I curated. So I created a web page for it that has information, like kind of like a sales page and a button when people click and buy from it. I wanted to trigger a certain response. So the response I wanted it to trigger is to send an automatic email to the recipient, giving them particular resources for them to get started. So it's like, how do I connect from my website to Stripe and Stripe to Active Campaign? You would have thought that from Stripe you can go directly to Active Campaign, right? But no, there's Ruben taught me there's something in between to bridge that and to create that connection. And it's a little bit more work, like Ruben said, to set it up in the beginning. It's a little bit of hassle learning this, but once it's done, it's pretty smooth. Like, right? Because you just have to duplicate that process, the same process over and over again. And when something doesn't work, I can just easily troubleshoot. Oh, it's at this section because this one works, and this one doesn't. I can then just go in to have that kind of, to tweak it a little bit from there. So Ruben, what you say is the biggest advantages or something that people can use to kind of like simplify the technology so that not only that it empowers their business, but it's also going to remove the headache. I know we talk about the all-in-one solution, but if there's something that you see in your consultation with companies that they just need
Yeah.
to tweak this one thing that's just going to simplify the overall technological experience and process.
Uh, sure, I'll give you the top list of the things that I see that are huge distractions for people. So one is put all your files in some kind of cloud storage. If you're concerned that, oh my gosh, if I lose my computer, then my whole business I'm gonna be out of business. That's not a concern that you need to have in the modern age, whether it's Dropbox or Google Cloud or Microsoft OneDrive. Like, you need to be able to log into any computer, or somebody gives you a computer and 30 minutes later your whole world is already there. Or you log in, you have a desktop and a laptop. You log into either one, everything is exactly there. It's fairly simple to get that set up in this day of technology, but and everything being backed up and synchronized like that. I would highly suggest that. The other thing is to having, as best as you can, have one inbox for your communications. When it comes to emails, for example, a lot of us have multiple email domains. And you might, set up this new business, I'm going to copy it over here. And you end up with like 5 or 6 different email accounts and you're logging into different places to check emails. So there's ways to set it up so you have one inbox, and then when you reply to people's communication, it comes from the domain that you want it to come from. But if you're checking multiple inboxes for stuff, then you're doing it wrong, or you're doing it in a way that you're spending time that you don't need to spend. In some cases, people have a corporate, like a job inbox and a personal one with a lot of different domains. I mean, that's fine. Although even those you can connect if you wanted to really commit to the one inbox solution. And I guess the last thing, let me see. Let me ask you is what was there a moment for you where there was like a shift for you in technology, like an opening type of experience that changed how you think about technology in your business?
I think the technology and me, like sometimes it's a love, sometimes it's a hate relationship. I mean, I have a PhD in computer science, but doesn't mean that sometimes I'm like, ah, that kind of thing. But I think like the more I understand it, like I don't need to know everything. Like for example, Active Campaign, I don't know most of the features, but I just know the things that I needed to know, and that's already enough. I need to know how to send, a mass email. I need to know how to set up automation, and I just need to know how to add people to my to the contacts.
Right.
I think it's kind of like knowing what I need that technology to do helps me to stay focused and just I go in, I just do that, and then I go out. And then that's all that I need. I think people like, oh, there's this new feature here. This I want to learn of this, and then it just gets overly complicated. I feel like just keeping things simple on what exactly that I needed to do is pretty much almost the same thing in my business.
Yes.
So it's kind of like streamlined. So then I just replicate it over. And then there are times when I forget how to do it. That happens, or when you change features, when it has updates and change features. But it's just a matter of clicking here, doing this, click here, and then finish it. So Ruben, let's kind of wrap up this conversation with a couple of questions. So the first, what's your favorite food?
Favorite food. I think my favorite food, it's either like shakes, like like a chocolate shake, like the sweet stuff. I'm a huge fan of sushi too, so I like that as well. And being
Okay,
South
yeah, because I'm
American,
like,
like a lot of
yeah, I
meat,
mean, like me,
grilled
I mean,
meat is
like
also
shake isn't really a food, it's more like a drink. I'm just
you
like
eat it
switching
though.
gears, having this technology conversation that we've learned from Ruben so much. So you like sushi, and then okay, what's your favorite color?
Favorite color is like a dark blue.
Dark, like royal blue, navy blue.
Yes, royal
Okay,
blue.
so when nobody else is watching, what's the music that you listen to?
uh, I listen to especially when I'm working on technology, the music I listen to is either Louis Prima, like old swing, um, jazzy type of music, or old cowboy music, but not like country music, but like cowboy music from like the early last century type of things, which is just like or songs on the range, like really weird stuff. Either that or I have a wide variety of music tastes, but those are the ones that I don't normally like. I play that, my kids are around, they're like, "What are you doing? Just don't."
I know, right? Like that is, my kids don't even know some of the songs that I grew up with. Like, like I grew up with The Sound of Music.
Oh,
Like it's such a classic. My kids don't even know what they are. Sound of Music. Okay, couple of more questions for that.
okay.
Who's your favorite sports person or athlete of all time?
Gosh, sports person or athlete. I've never been like a huge sports fan. I don't have somebody like that. I'm trying to think, is there somebody that
Yeah,
inspired
or
me?
maybe like someone that you look up to, someone that kind of inspire you. That person could be living, person could be already passed.
Um,
Or it could be your dad, for all we know.
yeah, no. Well, as far as the sport ones, you kind of got me. I've never looked up to like sports people. I've enjoyed them, but it's never been like, oh my gosh, one day I want to grow up and play basketball like that guy. Not necessarily. So yeah, I mean, let's go with my dad. Let's go with my
Yeah.
dad. Just he's my dad's now 83, 84. He's back in South America now, and
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's just somebody that inspired me to adventure
That
and
is
to be a good
so
parent.
cool.
Yeah.
Someone who inspire you to adventure. And the final question is, if you were a unicorn, what would your name be?
Yeah, my daughter loves unicorns.
So
So
does mine.
my mind goes straight to My Little Pony kind of unicorns. uh, so I'm gonna go Techie Dash. Dash.
That is so cute, like Takey Dash having it. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ruben, for joining me in It Takes Courage. You've shared a lot of valuable insights on, one fits all solution versus, small multiple. What you call that thing again?
Rube Goldberg machine.
Yeah, the Ruth Goldberg.
Point salute one stop shop or point solutions is what they're called.
Yeah, one-stop shop or point solution. So you've got that, you've shared about, the tips that people can use to make technology to empower them. And you've also talked about your entrepreneurship journey and, the things that, like the both side, right? The bust and the boom, both part of it. And here you are. So thank you so much, Ruben, for joining me today. And Ruben, what is the best way that people can reach out to you?
We were talking about this. So the best way, you can go to my digital agency website. It's probably the best way if you want to get in touch with me. It's Antonym. It's all Antonym Creative Company. I'm partnered with a digital artist and designer that I work with. So it's Antonym, like the word antonym, co.com, antonymco.com. And you can reach me through there. If you have any questions, I love talking to people and helping strategize ideas around making your business work for you.
Through technology. Thank you so much, Ruben, for joining us today. And everybody, remember, be courageous in sharing your voice so that you can make an impact to others and also become the go to expert in your field. Okay, Ruben, let's say
Thank
goodbye
you.
to everybody. Take care, everybody. May peace be
Bye.
upon you. Bye.